Rompelo, usa el compás, toma, rompelo ya. Sa, sa, sa.
The compressor.
I agree. And it's a very difficult thing because now people read, I think, too many magazine articles by famous mixers and recording engineers, and they talk about compression, and it's like, oh, compression, oh, you slam it and it sounds wonderful. Oh, I have this compressor, and if you just, you know, everything sounds wonderful from this compressor. No, it's not true. I don't think it can be true because it really depends on what you are recording and what you are mixing. But yes, there is an art to knowing which compressor for which job and how to make a settings so you get the right effect. And sometimes something that works very well for one style of music, if you use it for something else, is going to be very strange. Yeah, it's not going to work so well. But it's a big part of what I use to make the sound, maybe more so than EQ, because there are certain compressors that I don't know. I mean, technically I understand is supposed to be happening, but somewhere between the technical and what we end up with for mixing is a little bit of magic that, you know, maybe it's a little bit of what I understand and a little bit of accident, and you have to keep playing to find the right spot, you know. But it's maybe like cooking. You know, you have the recipe there. Everyone starts with the same recipe, and you put this and you put this and you do this for 5 minutes and you wait. But you know, when I make something is different than when you make something, or if you go to a 4-star restaurant and they make something. So, you know, we all start with the same idea and the same ingredients, but what we end up with is a little bit of magic. I think has to happen somewhere. Release on one type of compressor is not, because it says release doesn't mean it's the same. It works in different ways. And some compressors, when you change the release or attack times, the other one also is affected. And you have to be careful, you know. In the end, you have to listen. This is the most important thing we have, is our brain and our ears. And when you listen, you can read or people can tell you this trick or that trick, and they're all good tricks, but unless you have understanding and you can, I see the difference. I can hear the difference now. Okay, you know.
Este es un tiempo propicio para la modestia.
And I like the solid state compressor very much.
And the plugin,
the plugins,
it's very different. Or?
See, well, some projects when we don't have a budget to be in a big studio, so maybe we have to mix everything in Pro Tools. If I can, I rent maybe a solid state compressor, or the Alan Smarts is a similar one. And for me, this is part of the sound. It's somehow the finishing thing to make it soup. Yeah. When you have soup, it's like it's just water and vegetables and some meat for a long time. But then in the end, last 10 minutes or 15 minutes, now we have soup. And this is for me the compressor. The mix is going. It somehow still doesn't have a glue to hold it together. And for me, the stereo compressor is the glue at the end. I started using it earlier in the mix, but I think in the very end, this is what helps to really make it one thing. When I moved to New York, I knew pretty much nothing about hip-hop. There are some people who were very big fans. I really didn't know too much because I grew up playing rock music, and the people that I worked with and going to music school, rap was not so popular. Was popular around the world. When I moved to New York, I got a very big education very quickly because rap was the business in New York. And so I started to learn about hip-hop and rap and what people do and how they make their music. And for me it was great because it's just a very different concept. I have a great respect for producers who make beats because the very good ones, the talented ones, are just as good at creating music as anybody who can write an orchestra. It's an art, and it's really it's very it's more complicated, I think, than people give it credit for. in learning these processes, I learned to what to do with the music and what's important for the mixes and the recording of these projects. I had done started out with R&B, doing recording and mixing for an album by an artist, Mona Lisa, who came and went. I don't know if she's still making music, but she was a very good singer. And I got lucky. I was working as an assistant, and they called me from the front office and said, "There's no engineer. Would you like to do it?" I said, "Sure, okay, I'll do it." And I was doing it, and when I was recording, I made a rough mix, and they liked it. They said, "Hey, we need somebody to mix. Do you want to mix?" I said, "Sure." So it was my first big album, and it was great.
Okay.
From there, I was working with the Lost Boys, and who else? Junior Mafia. With Biggie Smalls and Little Kim, some other rappers I can't think of.
Puff Daddy also.
Puffy was part of this group because he was managing and running the career for Biggie Smalls and also for Little Kim. And we sort of made a connection and then went separate ways, and I was doing other things. And then I was doing some work for Tony Maserati, who's a big mixer in New York. And he called me up and said, "Hey, we're going to go to the Bahamas to record Puffy's new album. Would you like to come to the Bahamas?" I said, "Yes, I would." So I go to the Bahamas. It was supposed to be for only 2 weeks, and I ended up working for 9 months for Puffy for this album. And you know, we did a lot of recording for all sorts of things. We did, and this is one thing I like about hip hop also, because they take chances. It's not only just making beats with a box, but with Puffy, for instance, we did live horns from Casey and the Sunshine Band, and we did, oh my God, I can't think, was many different, mixture, good mixture of old and new, and was a good experience all the way. And I got to mix a few songs for the album, and then he invited me to do the next album as well, and did some mixing. And he was dating J-Lo at the time, so I ended up working on some of her songs and recorded and mixed a single for her, Feeling So Good. And it was, you know, it was a great time. It was a lot of good work to be done, and very interesting. In the end, I think for me, I needed to get back to mixing it up a little bit, because only working on one genre for me, it gets very difficult. Maybe I get bored. I don't know if I can't keep my attention focused. So Puffy was having some personal problems, and we had a sort of a break for a moment in work. And so I started doing some other things, producing my own projects and writing music. And then I ended up meeting December Bueno, and who signed on Universal Latino, and we did an album, and it was a good blend of this. It was good for me because it was he's Cubano, so he played a lot of different instruments and has many friends who were contributing to playing. And but he was in the base of it was a hip hop album. So it was good because it was a nice change and really flowed smoothly. What am I doing now in Music Land? I'm speaking to you. And enjoying the beautiful sunshine. And you would think it was summer, but it's not. I'm here to mix Techarí en vivo, live. And is big challenge because we have a big band with, I think the core of the band is 7 or 8 people. And then when they do a live show, there's always extra for palmas, which is for you Anglos, is the clapping, and they have a horn section and background singers and dancers who are wearing special shoes to dance flamenco, which is a special type of tap dancing with other things. And so we have many tracks and a lot of microphones, and trying to do all the things I was explaining before to find a place for everything. And also to worry about, well, this microphone is supposed to be for a conga, but it's hearing Marina singing, is also hearing some guitars, is also hearing bateria, and each microphone is having these same problems. It's bleed, so you have to deal with, you know, how you can find a spot and make EQ and compression And for this is a little bit more sensitive because when you're compressing a microphone track with a lot of ambient noise, it tends to bring up the background noise.
Okay.
So you have to find compromises.
Okay.
When you're making a record, you try to make it because you think this will be lasting forever. People will listen to it over and over and over again, and you have to think with this in mind. It's a philosophy. With live album, it's more, this is the moment, and you have to capture it.
Okay.
So you have what you have, and maybe it's different from the recorded album. Sure, it's the basic song, and the idea is coming from this, and we try to maybe make the effects and certain things. But sometimes it doesn't work. You can't do it exactly. You have to be careful about how to interpret what's coming from the tape.
Yeah, but it's a good reference to check. No, it's a.
Sure. I mean, it's a good reference to find make sure that the balance between cajon and all the percussion and the guitars with flamenco music is super important. I mean, and with Ojos especially, I can't say I'm not an expert in flamenco, but for them, it's really the guitars and the cajon and the other percussion have to be in such a way to work together. Okay. And if it's not, the balances are not correct, and the music, it starts to lose the feeling. You can't dance to it, you can't feel it the correct way. Yeah. So yeah, for this, it's an excellent reference because I know the balances, but also when I was mixing, I needed help for this because this is some new territory for everyone. Because they're trying to mix flamenco with other music, so they know really strongly like what it's supposed to be, you know. And for me, I have maybe other ideas, but I need to be sensitive, about what they're trying to accomplish. So, so when I forget, if nobody is around to ask, I put the album on and I see what was I doing here. Okay. Music Land.
I like the rooms and the people.
I don't like the people so much. Music Land, I love this place. For me, studios, it's a tool. You have every studio. It can be very good and can be very bad, and you have to. This one has been done very well. You have a lot of good equipment. The rooms sound very nice. And for me, this studio has become like a home for me when I work in Spain. I love it. And the people, no problems. It's, I mean, beyond no problems. It's the service is just as good as I've had anywhere else. And also now, I think because I've worked here 3 or 4 times, I'm friends now with people that are here, and it's always very professional. It doesn't become too relaxed where, oh, you know, don't worry, it's just Jim. You know, he can do it. You know, he doesn't need help. If I need something, it's done right away, and if I don't need anything, I get my privacy and I can work and enjoy the beautiful view, and you know, if I need any equipment, most of what I need is here, and if we need something else, they can get it, like, you know, no problem. So, very happy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the end.
No more.
Okay, to cigarette mix.
Y agüita cristalina y es lo que quiero. Fuente de alhambra mora pa' mí adentro. Y hogueras de cariño sin posesiones. Hacemos indigentes de mil amores. Una llanera fina, cobre dorada.